Howdy folks, welcome to episode 1 of Diversifying the Portfolio. I am expanding my collection and toy collecting out beyond Masters of the Universe Origins now. That's what started my toy collecting. Fun, I would say. Starting this year in 2021, I'd say it was probably back in March or April when I bought my first He-Man and Skeletor, and we've seen that the snowball has continued to grow since then. It has snowballed, as the proverbial statement goes. Picked him up today. He's a McFarlane Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine, Terminator Marine, to be more specific. I believe this is from a video game about these Warhammer 40,000 and Space Marines. Says he's a Blood Angel's Hellblaster. Now, when I was a kid, these guys were named as Terminator Marines because the regular Space Marines weren't quite as well equipped and heavily armored. The normal Space Marines do have armor. They look similar, I believe, but I don't think they had this. I think this was more like a Terminator Marine, if I believe the shoulders and the stuff. Although maybe it's just a regular Space Marine. It's just large to me, and the Terminator Marine would be even bigger with even more decoration. But if my mind serves right, that's what we call a Terminator Marine. There were lots of factions of Marines. Blood Angels was one type. Who were the ones that were the blue color, the Ultramarines? They seem to have like a U for like on their shoulder, like Ultramarine, but they looked blue like the Baltimore Colts. And so I thought the Ultramarines were often battling with the Blood Angels here, and kind of like the Crips and Bloods in Los Angeles at that time in the 80s. Warhammer 40,000 was an amazing role-playing game. It's a table battle game, basically, with a big rule book and lots of different characters you could use. This was one that we went to play not at the home because we didn't have the setup, basically. You needed a big table, and you basically needed to set up a diorama every time you played. And actually a lot of other people were kind enough, all the adults that were there, we were kids, my brother and I, the adults had brought all their figures that they had painted by hand for the most part, and would just basically teach us the rules on the fly as we played the game, because the rules weren't that difficult. The old role-playing game, you'd have your miniatures and you'd have a tape measure, and you'd move your miniatures length based on the tape measure. Some figures move 3 inches per turn, some figures move 4 inches per turn, etc. You know, longer for vehicles. So you just move them in any direction you wanted, 3 or 4 inches, and then you had a firing distance of, some guys had 20 inches, 30 inches, whatever, depending on their weapon. I made the game pretty simple. I remember there was kind of a roll of a 20-sided dice probably to see if you hit the guy, and maybe they could roll to see if they dodged or something like that. Then there was maybe a roll to see if it penetrated their armor or not, and essentially if it penetrated their armor, they were dead. I think most characters in that game had 1 hit point. Few had 1 or 2 or 3, but it made it much easier to keep track of things. If a guy got hit, he was dead, basically, and off the board. It wasn't really difficult to keep track of your armies that way. There was always one game master that sat back and just watched everything and kind of helped facilitate the game, and he wasn't involved in the game playing. He was just watching, because there'd be 10 other people playing kind of simultaneously across the board as this battle would be raging on, and so he'd just kind of stand and watch and make sure that the rules were being followed and help guide us with the rules. So that's the background of Warhammer 40,000 for me. Eventually I did get into painting some of my own toys. I did have a Terminator Marine. I had a set of probably 30 miniature plastic regular Space Marines. A lot of these were leaded figures, I believe. That's how I got into painting originally. Was painting those figures. So anyway, that's a lot of yammering and jabbering before we get into this figure here. I figure we're going to go ahead and open them. Alright, so let's check him out here. See, this is my first McFarlane toy. Alright, he's got ratcheting elbows, and he's got some good articulation there where he can move around the shoulder, I guess you'd say. Does his hand move? Yeah, he's got some, it's kind of tight in there a little bit, but that's nice. No back and forth wrist pivot there, but at least it rotates. So he's got full rotation at the wrist. I'm sure he's got ratcheting elbow here. Ooh, does that pull off, or am I just being harsh on him already here? It's not supposed to pull off, I don't think, but oh, maybe. There's a peg. Let's see. Let's see if I can break them and put them back together. It looks like there's a peg in there. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I probably don't want to force that. Let's put them back together before we pull them apart. Hey, He-Man. Hey, He-Man. Well, that's why they're collector figures and not action figures. They don't hold together very well. I see now. They are not made for young kids like me. 12 plus. It's just for posing, not for playing with Skeletor. Oh, well, he still feels kind of like an action figure. He's got, like I said, he's got some really nice ratcheting joints there, but yeah, that's probably just to make him posable. Maybe I shouldn't be so playful with him here. I might break them all apart. Maybe he's not quite fitting with G.I. Joe's, and that's why the price. It's not as expensive to make them because they're not making him to last quite as sturdy. But I do like the looks of him. He's cool looking. I like this crest on him. I seem to like guys that have bird things on them. So this is another character that has a bird on his chest and a bird on his shoulder. Boy, that armor is really not sticking in there good now that I've pulled it out. I don't think it's supposed to be removable, so let's just leave it where it is. And he'll just have to be a figure. Okay, so let's get his jump pack on. He's got a jump jetpack so he can move faster across the battlefield, and he's got this, I don't know the name of this weapon, unfortunately. I forget the name of their guns. Yeah, this elbow, arm, shoulder piece is going to be pretty loose. And there he goes. He's got his hand here for sort of, can't reach out very far, so he can't really aim the gun. Well, I guess if he's aiming actually like this, sideways, keeping a small profile when he shoots at you. Can I twist his legs at all? Do they have any turn in them? Not so much. No. So they just they move at the knee, they move at the hip, but I don't think they turn too much anyway. If they do, it's not really intentional. It's just the slight give in the material. All right, well, that'll have to do. So that's as posed as I can get them, I think. Hope that looks pretty cool. And yeah, I'm gonna have to say I'm pretty disappointed with him as a figure. Now I've learned my lesson now with adult collectibles. They are not action figures. They are actually just posed for standing up and displaying. So that's okay. He'll look cool on my shelf somewhere. I'll put him up. All right, that's it for this figure. Take care, everybody. Have a good one.